Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining me again today for another session of Me Programming Daily. Today, I would like to continue working on Wyvern. So, off camera, during the weekend, I made some progress on this issue where multiple loopback connections overlap. What is a loopback connection? It's a connection leading from, say, no branch here to the beginning of the fork, and another connection leading from no branch of question 2 to, say, the beginning of action 1. There's nothing too much wrong with them, but they break those pretty much fundamental Dracon rules upon which wyvern is built, meaning the lines shouldn't overlap if they introduce ambiguity. And in our case, ambiguity is there because we are not 100% certain if this line goes here or here. Situations like this should be categorically avoided. And it doesn't look like much, but it sort of defeats the purpose of going down the Dracon path. So during the weekend, I spent some time with the Dracon Hub. Shout out to Stepan Mitkin and the Dracon Hub. This is a fantastic piece of software for understanding what Dracon really is all about. It's a visual Dracon diagrams editor. It's something that I always refer to when I'm not sure how a certain Dracon feature should work. And I love it. It's great. But what I'm mostly looking for in my own work and my own projects, and what interests me the most, is Dracon diagrams as code, and furthermore, simplified Dracon diagrams as code, which is the purpose of Wyvern. So again, shout out to Stepan Mitkin, fantastic piece of software. I wanted to check how they resolve it, and I found some quirks that I cannot explain. Like, for example, if you highlight this line, and I was trying to replicate this behavior. If you highlight this line, I would expect it to allow me to go here. It doesn't. It allows me to connect this line here, or here, or here, but not here. I'm not sure why that is, but in Wyvern, I'm planning to allow for it because as long as this line doesn't overlap anything and this line doesn't overlap anything, there could be multiple connections going into here. And I don't see a problem with that. So I'll be taking the liberty to modify Dracon rules here. I refactored the code a little bit, and I'll tell you how exactly in a second. But let me just get to the bottom of this issue. I spent a bit of time debugging my Haskell code. I don't think I've ever debugged my Haskell code. I never had the need to use debugger until now. Well, technically, I could have survived without it, but I was very curious to experiment. I may record a session about it at some stage, how to use the debugger, what I learned, and so on and so on. But for now, let me explain why I used the debugger, why I extracted all the values from it. Well, this function, render additional connection, today it works in isolation from all other connections, meaning that if a connection has already been drawn, like here, this new connection will know nothing about it, and obviously this needs to change. So in the attempt to refactor this, I first made sure that the new connection being generated by this function is returned in the output. So that is done now. I can debug the outputs and they are correct. So this is my simplified output. This is my non-simplified output. I'll try to extract the values out of it before we start any serious work today. Another screenshot of Dracon Hub, where I think I'll be proposing modifications to how Dracon or Wyvern should work. And how about we get started? So, to recap, plan for today is to maybe extract values out of this to show you how the lines are formed, the lines, these loopback connections. And if we still have time, I would like to extract this function to be unit testable, and I'll introduce unit tests to the project. And just as with the debugger, I'm not very familiar with unit tests in Haskell. I hope I'll do a decent job with it. So pretty busy session planned for today. I hope you have your coffee or drink of choice ready. I have my still reasonably fresh, albeit almost empty cup of coffee and some water. So let's get started. First, let's extract this into a lists of points. So this is connection 1, this is connection 2. They're obviously simplified. Let me just make it a bit, oh, I can't, because it doesn't make any difference. So let me just leave a comment. I think it shouldn't take too much time. So this is point 2, point 3 of line 1. How many points do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this should be relatively straightforward. So this is the shorter line. And this is the longer line. If you are following along, and I don't expect anybody to, if you want to debug this yourself, instructions how to debug I left in the comments. Sorry, not in the comments, in the readme. All right, so we have these two lines. So this fragment is where they overlap, so point 2 and 3 should reside on one line. That is common. Point 2 and 3. So we know that points reside on one line because the x-coordinate is identical for both. And if y-coordinates also overlap, we have a problem. So in this case, we don't care about the last point because it's the same destination. It is allowed. I rule that it is allowed, or I declare that it is allowed. First point, they can start from the same x coordinate, and it doesn't matter as long as the y coordinates are different. If they were the same, it would be the same connection, which is not allowed. And this, so the reason why I want to this isolated clearly is I want to build new logic around this sort of overlap. So the new logic for this function is, or should be, if we have an overlapping lines, try shifting the latter line a little bit to the right, and the problem should go away, at least for these sort of loopbacks with an arrow. Now, it introduces a little bit of complexity because it will mean that we'll have to shift whatever is to the right of that, but we can survive that. So let's leave this comment. It's simplified. Let's exit the debugger. Square block copy. Why did I copy it? Why did I copy it? Delete. Okay. No, of course you don't see the README changes. This is the debugging instructions. Okay, so how about we get started with unit testing? I have a cheat sheet here on my other screen. First of all, it looks like we'll have to, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this function. It should be reasonably easy to extract it to a testable function. It already is pretty testable. So first thing, let's introduce new directory. Let's call it let's use HUnit for this. Okay. Let's just check. Oh, we can do circle. And assertion. So assertion is just IO. So let's not worry about this. Each unit. I need to also remove a condition that I used to evaluate my QWE. This is the list of loopback connections. Let's rename this. Okay, that's done. Oh, I don't think I even need that. Oh. Oh, what am I doing? So I can do this. Okay. Let's make it fill. I'm not sure it should pass. Okay. It should fail, shouldn't it? Okay, beautiful. Let's just double check if it's formatted. Okay, so this is a nice little foundation for all the tests to come. Let's just try to import the skewer block module so that I can hit the ground running during the next session. Or maybe easier. Let's just compare two IDs. String. Of course, we also need to expose that module as a library. I hope this works. Oh, maybe I shouldn't delete that. This shouldn't build, and it does. Let's see if this works. Okay, I'll have to figure this out probably off camera. This session is getting a little bit long. But starting next session, I'll try to start writing unit tests for this function. So what I'm expecting to happen is as this function renders each new line, it will be given a collection of existing lines categorized as loopbacks for now, and it will basically check if there are any lines in the collection that could overlap with the new line. If there are, shift the new line a little bit to the right. Right. So thank you very much all for your attention today. I hope you have a fantastic day and take care. I'll see you next time.